Joining us now is Ojinika Okpe with stories trending around the world. Hello, Jinix.
Good morning, Dr. Abati. How are you this morning? I can see you're looking around.
I'm looking at
I knew what you were going to say. Yes, I knew that. You know we are always doing now. How are you this morning? Good morning, Rufai. How are you this morning? Good. Exciting news. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is back. Yay! But I mean, I was hoping to get a video, though, from our State House correspondent. I was like, I do have a video of when, his return and all of that. But he's back from Europe. So, he's back. Well, that's the statement. He's back from Europe. Well, all right. Well, let's begin what's trending. Nigerians have taken to social media to register their frustration over the 0.5% cybersecurity levy imposed by the Central Bank of Nigeria. Well, on Tuesday, the Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project issued a warning to the federal government to reverse the levy, which is to take effect in 2 weeks. The non-profit organization threatened to take the government to court should the directive not be withdrawn in the next 48 hours. Serap made this known in a post on X. Its statement reads, the Tinubu administration must immediately withdraw the grossly unlawful CBN directive to implement Section 44 of the Cybercrime Act 2024, which imposes a 0.5% cybersecurity levy on Nigerians. We'll see in court if the directive is not withdrawn within 48 hours. Well, I mean, Serap, as always, is doing the Lord's work. These these court orders and, lawsuits, we've seen them go around trying to issue these statements. But I believe you all discussed this with Tiliwa Adebanjo. But I wanted to... Yes, but I wanted to make sure that, our viewers and the government hear what Nigerians are saying. Also, the Nigeria Labour Congress has issued a statement. Their statement reads in part, the Nigeria Labour Congress vehemently condemns the recent directive by the Central Bank of Nigeria to levy a 0.005% cybersecurity levy on electronic transfers. Extracting this levy from the people who are already kwashiorkored by the government policies in order to throw money at cybersecurity will not make our cyberspace better, just like it has been our experience in the past. We see this as a cybersecurity levy that will inflict severe social security on workers and masses. This levy stands as another tax that is too much for Nigerians, bothering them with additional financial responsibilities. We see this levy as another gang up by the ruling elite to continue its extortion and exploitation of hapless and helpless workers and the masses. Well, this is a tweet from Kalu Aja. Well, he wrote, tax, borrow, print and buy yacht. Tax, borrow, print and buy SUVs. Tax, borrow, print and fly on private jets. IGR is not a measure of development. The embarrassing basics are absent. 1, clean drinking water. 2, cheap food. 3, security. Yet we have 2 broken down presidential private jets and a new billion naira VP villa. Are you not entertained? Ayo, are you entertained? I can see that you want to speak, Dr. Vati. Go ahead. Okay,
this is a very problematic intervention by the Nigerian government, the Tinubu administration. The Tinubu administration had told us through the committee, the Fiscal and Tax Committee led by Taiwo Oyedele, that they are not going to focus on taxing the people. They will just find a way of expanding the tax net and also focus on revenue generation, as Mr. Wale Edun, the Minister of Finance, had said on many occasions. Now, so it looks like a policy shift. 2, they are basing this on the law. The law is the Cybercrime Prevention and Prohibition Act of 2015, now amended as Cybercrime Prevention and Prohibition Act of 2024. Now, Tilewa Adebajo raised a point, which is that, look, this law, when it was passed in February, where was the Nigerian Labour Congress? Where was Serap? Where were the people of Nigeria? Why didn't we query the law at that time? Why did we allow that amendment? The operative section is section 44 sub 2 of this amended law on cybercrime. However, we know how they amend laws in Nigeria. They do it through the back door. Well, I mean, this law was passed on, it was February 27. The president signed it immediately on February 28. Tilewa Adebajo asked the question, was there a public hearing? But in this same country, we have seen situations whereby they will even publish the notice of public hearing after they have passed the law. However, the true test of a law is in its implementation. Now they want to implement it, and I made the argument that we're likely to see a lot of litigation because there are many gray areas here. Number one, the CBN says they will warehouse the money, right? So they are the revenue collector. Now, when they warehouse the money, 40% goes to the office of the National Security Advisor. And we raise the question, the office of the National Security Advisor is not a revenue collection agency. If you collect money federally, under Section 162 sub 1 of the 1999 Constitution, it goes into the federation account. So you are likely to find a situation whereby states will come up and say, no, how this money will be managed, we want to know. If you collect cybercrime levy across Nigeria, then all the states should share out of it, as was the case, as I pointed out, in the government of Rivers State versus the federal government of Nigeria in the matter relating to police trust fund. The other issue, also raised by Tilewa Adebajo and the rest of us, is that you erode people's purchasing power. Yeah. You have imposed fuel subsidy on us. You say you are still paying the fuel subsidy. We are overtaxed. And this is where labor is coming from. Now they will collect more money. Look, what you are going to do, invariably, is that all this financial inclusion, technology, and all of that, you will drive people underground at a time when the telcos are even saying the banks are not paying for USSD. So these are all the problems that Nigerians face. What many are saying is that government should suspend this 2 weeks notice that they have given. Yes. Absolutely. Otherwise, they will face a lot of litigation, and you know, it's a needless distraction. Yes. We are already overtaxed.
Yeah. Earlier there was a graphic that was on the screen there showing what the breakdown would be if you were to send 10,000 naira. If we can pull that up as well, there you have it. I think also there are 16 transactions exempted from the CBN cybersecurity law. One is loan disbursement and repayment. 2, salary payments, intra-account transfers within same bank or between different banks for the same customer. 4, intra-bank transfer between customers of the same bank. 5, other financial institutions' instructions to their correspondent. I think as we speak, the other exemptions will be displayed on the screen there for our viewers to know that there are about 16 exemptions that will allow you not to pay that 0.5%. Ayo, quickly.
All right, just very quickly, this conversation actually started last year. I do believe that, I mean, to be fair to the Senate, it was raised last year when they said $500 billion was lost annually to cybercrime in Nigeria, and there was a need to amend the existing law. And they did have a public hearing, and this was instituted by the chairman of the Senate Committee on ICT and Cybersecurity, Shoaib Salisu. However, I suspect that what happened, as, I mean, even Mr. Adebajo said that, there were a lot of distractions around the many issues that were plaguing Nigeria. Yes. That when you hear a cybercrime act, you know, a number of people didn't pay close attention because they didn't quite understand how that would affect, you know, in terms of the monies, how the monies would be raised to fund fighting that. And I think that's a big challenge here. Yes, a number of things unfortunately went under the sight of people who would normally watch and check. But even if we didn't, it's just, I mean, like we said, like morally, common sense-wise, with what is happening here, the question that NLC is asking is that, is this the right timing?
The right time?
We've just increased electricity tariff. Fuel, we've increased that, you know, fuel subsidy gone, price of PMS high. everything seems to be skyrocketing. We looked at food inflation, which is on the high side, and then you introduce another burden on Nigerian people. It just seems, Oji, like that the government is insensitive to the cries and the hunger and the despondency of Nigerians currently. And instead of looking to make life better, what it just seems is that it's looking to tax and overtax and overtax and overtax. That's the real challenge.
I wish I listened to your interview, because I'll have asked this question about, I mean, this is what a lot of users on social media had asked. How does it really apply eventually? So the money goes into the NSA account, right?
To the central bank.
Of course, but eventually they are the ones that disperse it, that will disperse it at the end of this. It doesn't serve as some sort of insurance. What if my bank gets hacked? Then what?
I hope with this I will never get a hack. Or if it gets
they
hacked,
will refund my money. They will refund. I like that.
Yes, and something.
If I have 50 billion naira in my account today and it gets hacked, please.
50 billion.
Yeah, why not? I'm just saying if. Why? Wish me now. Why are you surprised, Dr. Abati? This is not a joke. Go ahead.
An important point was also the opacity of how the NSA runs its accounts. That if you look at 600 trillion naira, the last count from NIVS in terms of how much money went passed through in terms of transactions, 3 trillion naira would approximately be realized by the 0.5%. 40% of that is going to the NSA. Of course, as a result of national security, they cannot reveal in detail how they spend their money. It means that this amount of money, this significant amount of money that's coming from Nigerians would have, well, very minimal accountability in terms of how much or how it is being spent. That is the big challenge. So for a number of people, they're saying it doesn't make any sense. It is too much hardship for Nigerians. Do away with it at this time.
Okay,
Wrong time.
Let me just do a quick breakdown before we take our next story. This is a tweet from our favorite doctor online. He says, what the new levy means is if you do 1 million naira transfer, the bank will charge you an extra 5,000 naira to be sent to the NSA office for cybersecurity. And if you send 2 million naira, bank will charge you extra 10,000 naira. It's crazy at this point. This is mass financial strangulation. Well, all right. We'll take another story. Former head of state, Yakubu Gowon, has paid tribute to ex-president Umaru Yar'Adua 14 years after his passing, saying Nigeria would have been a better place if Yar'Adua had completed his term in office. Yar'Adua died on May 5th, 2010, from an undisclosed illness. Yakubu Gowon gave a tribute while speaking at a leadership conference and awards organized by the Global Initiative for Leadership Success in Abuja on Monday. He described the late president as a decent man, devoid of corruption. In the meantime, as Nigeria marked 14 years of Yar'Adua's passing, a 2008 video of the late president announcing his support for the removal of the immunity clause, which shields the president, vice president, state governors, and their deputies from prosecution as stipulated in the 1999 Constitution, has made the rounds. Yar'Adua made the comments in Davos, Switzerland, at a dinner hosted by the Partnership Against Corruption Initiative as part of activities at the annual meeting of the World Economic Forum. He also said that his administration would introduce a corruption monitoring device to help fight the war against corruption.
The next constitutional amendment will strip these public officials of this immunity, and I am personally in support of that. So one of the measures we are going to take already, apart from the work the anti-corruption agencies are doing, is to have corruption monitors. This is an instrument that will create, will help people train, monitors attached to public officials. We are going to begin first with the president, the vice president, the ministers in the cabinet, the state governors, so that these monitors will be trained in the art of investigation. They will have access by law to their asset declaration forms. They will have access by law to their accounts. They will have access by law to their spouses' accounts and so on, so that highly placed public officials will be monitored. Their assets, properties will be monitored to follow what they are doing in terms of acquiring of illegal wealth while in office. Now, this is an extreme measure, but the situation in Nigeria actually demands this.
Brilliant man. I mean, Sunday marked 14 years since he passed, Rufai. I mean, but you know, you have it there. We had the issue about, we've always talked about this immunity clause. And also, you know, he talked about that corruption monitoring device, which he thought was, you know, an elaborate gesture. But at that time, Nigeria was fighting corruption. At this time, we're still fighting corruption.
You know, the sad reality is that, and God bless his soul, the sad reality is that I don't know why the good ones don't last in Nigeria. Yar'Adua made his own mistakes, but he had a good heart for this country. This was the only man that came in to say, I know the elections that brought me in were fraught with irregularities. Yes. He accepted the mago-mago in the elections that brought him in. And he went further to say, okay, let's work on something called the wage reports, where most reforms we're enjoying today as regards elections were started by him. Atahiru Jega served in that panel. Atahiru Jega later got INEC job as chief of INEC, and he held elections that in recent times has been the standard for other elections. It was also under Yar'Adua that petrol price reduced, if you remember. We forget that. All the other leaders have been killing us with petrol prices, but under Yar'Adua, petrol price reduced. This was a man that also wanted to make me revolt, but the things I fault him for. We're talking about Nigerians having a right to know. Nigerians had a right to know what was wrong with his health. He didn't tell us. The politicking and how we had to go through the rigmarole of doctrine of necessity and the Jonathan debacle, his administration, that Dora Akunyelu had to say that a minister of information, well, I don't have information. And everything that went around were his failings. We remember the famous BBC interview. We remember some religious leaders say he came back to the country, they saw him, and days after he passed. Those were his failings, but you can't take it away from him. I have always also advocated that you cannot give immunity clause to criminals.
That's the point.
Giving the political class that has been highly criminalized immunity clause is like giving Lawrence Omajapo Anini immunity clause. We need to go after them. We need to strip them of this power that they hide under. Look at the case of Odudo. And Yaya Bello, a man has been called for question. The next year, as a government, because of the immunity, you came there, you took him out there. Those were the things Yar'Adua was speaking against. So he will be missed. He has his own faults. May God forgive him his own weaknesses and all of that. But it's 14 years down the line.
Well, just in a minute. President Umaru Yar'Adua died May 5, 2010. And at that time, when then acting president, President Goodluck Jonathan, was paying tribute to him, he said Nigeria had lost a jewel in its crown. A few days ago, it was remembered, years after, 14 years after. And I think it was General Gowon who made the point that, look, his administration, if it had fulfilled its potential, Nigeria would have been a different place. Why do I think that General Gowon said that? Because, look, that administration was abbreviated by illness and death. Olusegun Adeniyi has written a book on those circumstances. President Yar'Adua had a 7-point agenda about infrastructure, power, energy, wealth creation, education, healthcare, and other. We're still talking about the same issues 14 years later. But his biggest legacy will be the electoral reform. The Waste Commission report. The Waste Commission report asking for independence of INEC. The Waste Commission report asking for completion of litigation before anybody is sworn in. We're still talking about the same things. Another legacy from him will be the amnesty program and ensuring peace in the Niger Delta. We don't have time, so I can't give a long, prognosis on his legacy.
Well, may he forever rest in peace. It's good that he's remembered. Absolutely. We'll take our final story under entertainment with a recap of fashion's biggest night, the Met Gala, which took place in New York's Metropolitan Museum of Art on Monday night. The Met Gala is an annual fundraising event held for the benefit of the Metropolitan Museum of Art's Costume Institute in Manhattan. The theme for this year's event was Sleeping Beauties, Reawakening Fashion. The event was co-chaired by Jennifer Lopez, Chris Hemsworth, Zendaya, and Bad Bunny, while Vogue's Anna Wintour is the annual chief host. Some of the celebrities of Nigerian descent who graced the event include singer and actress Cynthia Erivo, British Vogue fashion editor Chioma Nnadi, actor Damson Idris, actress Ayo Edibiri, and producer Nnamdi Asomuga, while South African Grammy Award-winning musician Tyla stole the show with a sand-made dress by Balmain as she was lifted by her bodyguards onto the stage.
Make me sweat, make me harder, make me lose my...
Just to everyone who graced that carpet, it was a beautiful... You know, fashion is what I love the most. I mean, I thought it was nice to... And what's trending on the nice side, I saw you smiling when you heard your name, Ayo.
Yeah, so my namesake was
your namesake was representing, Nigerians were representing, as always. I know you were asking about Doja Cat, your towel mistress, but that's not going to come on What's Trending, you know that? Well, all right. I'd like to thank you all for your contribution on What's Trending. Well, that's all I have for you guys on What's Trending today. I'll see you all tomorrow.